Hello YouTubers, welcome back to yet another Tesla electric car video with me, Adam Well-Informed. It's coming home. It's coming to that time of year again where we've reached the second anniversary of owning our Tesla Model 3, and that means both our car insurance and our vehicle exercise duty is due for renewal. But I'm pleased to say, or pretty much shocked to say, I've pretty much halved our car insurance premium since last year, and despite having to declare 2 accidents on file, don't ask. But if you really want to know the backstory, you can see the video about it on the pop-up on the screen. I think it's this side. In preparation of a renewal, I did some Tesla-specific research, and I've distinctively noticed two trends when it comes to owners insuring their Tesla Model 3s or Tesla Model Ys, having followed some Tesla Facebook threads. The first being some Tesla owners are stating that their renewals have jumped pretty considerably very recently here in the UK. And the second trend is that new owners are struggling to get good value insurance ahead of their delivery date. Some even quoting that the best price is, £1,000 or £2,000. Now, a good valued policy is merely a perception thing and is entirely subject to an individual circumstance. So my perception of an insurance premium quote may be different to yours. Ultimately, you'll know if something is of a satisfactory price and is of value or not for your unique circumstances. Therefore, I've used a few tricks of my own to produce this magical quotation. To put things into perspective, this premium is not only just shy of half of my renewal price, it may actually be cheaper than my Seat Leon insurance a couple of years back. And needless to say, I am pretty happy with myself. So some of you may want to call me a well-informed wizard or not. It's totally fine. I'm not going to be offended. But in all seriousness, where I found success, I want to share that with you guys. And even if it might be a very small or subtle change, it's made all the difference for my Tesla vehicle. And, hopefully it could make all the difference for your Tesla car insurance too. Whether you're an existing owner or you're a brand new owner. Then to round off the video, I want to discuss the biggest maintenance item to date, followed by my VED renewal, and maybe discuss the incoming vehicle exercise duty changes, and then to prepare you for my next week's video, which will be my 2-year Tesla ownership review. Enough of the intro. So if this video sounds like a fascinating insight, buckle up, hit that like button to show me some of your virtual love and support for Tesla and EVs. Hit the subscribe button so you can continue on this Tesla EV journey with me, and finally hit the notification bell so you're notified of all my upcoming electric car videos as soon as they're available. Right, Adam, show me the magic. So last year our car insurance stood at £650, and the year before that it was just short of about £500. The difference in the premiums, I guess, was mainly because the accidents hadn't settled fully. Well, one of them hadn't settled fully or accepted liability. But with that now out of the way, our official renewal quote from Churchill was £667. Like anyone with an ounce of determination, I'm keen not to accept that quote. And I'm pretty confident that I can do better than £667. And we know how I did in the end following this image on the screen now. So now to echo what I said earlier, please don't compare our renewal prices with your own directly. There are factors that are personalised and unique to your own situation, like your postcode, occupation, and your mileage, etc., which could have a positive or negative effect on your price. And that's just beyond our control here. This video won't be digging deep into insurance quotation hacks, but there were a number of just simple methods that I did ultimately got me to an identical quote of £334 from the exact same provider that delivered the £667 renewal quote. So now we know the target and the end result. What did I do and what tips could help you achieve a satisfactory outcome for your Tesla Model 3 or Tesla Model Y? So let's discuss them simple methods, and then I'll probably deliver the best tip for those expecting their Tesla deliveries very shortly. And in my case, this tip probably saved me hundreds of pounds, and I'm hoping it's going to work for you too. So to start, I found that Tesla owners usually go with either LV, Direct Line, being Tesla's UK insurance partner, and finally, my existing provider, Churchill. Personally, my quotations in the past have been varied considerably, but strangely, I'd see maybe one or two of these as the cheapest one pretty much consistently. But naturally, this isn't a distinctive list of the best providers, just merely a reflection of conversations I've had, what I've read online, plus, obviously my own experience here. There are always outliers to this rule. For example, Privilege were actually £10 cheaper than Churchill for me, but incorporating all the add-ons like legal cover, etc. that I wanted, Churchill were just better value. So my first tip is always just keep a lookout for these providers. do try the direct quotations and then follow up with a comparison website quote as well. Sticking with the quotation process though, probably the biggest swing factor in my winning quotation was simply time. And if you want them cost savings, you can't be a slouch. Being organised and ready to get quotations early has consistently delivered me cheaper quotes. In the UK, it's an inefficient golden rule whereby if you receive a quotation around 21 days prior to your renewal date, it should be cheaper than at any point. Personally, I don't wait until day 21 though. I start getting quotes from 30 days remaining until renewal and almost every day past day 21. And I've used a comparison quotation just to help speed up the quotation process each time too, noting that direct line won't show on comparison websites. Previously, I've actually found direct quotations not as competitive as their own quotes on comparison websites. So other people may have a different experience to that, but that's just my 2 cents at least. Also, in my experience, after around day 20 to renewal, the quotations will actually start to creep up higher, closer to the renewal as we get. Again, it's not a hard rule, but look at this example. Even if I rerun the exact same quotation, it's way more expensive. And the only difference I can think of is merely time to renewal. It's, ridiculous. The third and final option, I did not utilize myself this time round, but I did find it extremely intriguing. That is the inclusion of excess insurance. Now, I didn't even know this was a thing until I read up on it initially, and so you probably want to do your own research on this. The name of the game is to actually increase your voluntary excess to the highest point available, and that actually lowers your annual premium as a result of doing that. And then by acquiring the vehicle excess insurance, this will actually pick up the chunk of that higher than desired excess level that you've then set it at. And the idea is that despite paying for the excess insurance, your premium should be lower, and the excess insurance should cover the big excess requests in the event of a claim. The whole thing was interesting, but I didn't investigate the solution myself. So, please go away, do your own research, do the math, see if it works out, and of course, just always look at the T&Cs and these things. Moving on as promised, today's Tesla owners looking for insurance ahead of delivery. If you want to be ahead of the game like I was, we can start by building on the timing element that had the biggest impact for my quotation this year, and it could be a swing factor for you too. So if you have an estimated date for say 1 month's time, or the month of December for example, you need to use that to your advantage. Ahead of collection, I knew my Tesla would be delivered in the month of December, and it was around a month's notice, but I had no exact dates. But I started racking up quotations, ideally 30 days, 25 days, 21 days before lots of different start dates in December. And I did this by generating insurance quotes by finding the vehicle by make and model. You'll have to do it this way because you'll know one of the biggest hindrances of getting quotations, and the reason you're probably receiving those more expensive quotations is that you don't get hold of your number plate details until maybe a week before collection. And as I mentioned earlier, the further out the quote is for a vehicle, the better price you should get. And there is a famous saying in that timing is everything, and it seems very much that way for this situation too. Therefore, don't wait for your number plate. You can actually start getting quotations based on the make and model up to 30 days before a policy start date. That start date you want the policy to commence has to be scattered across the month of December in hope that A, one of these quotes will be your delivery date, or B, potentially you can move your collection date to one of these days. This way, you are gaining that early quotation advantage rather than being held ransom to a high premium because you don't have the exact delivery date or you don't have a number plate details to hand. Talking about the number plate, when you accept the quotation close to the time, the provider will then ask you for your number plate details. Subsequently, you can then just input the one provided by Tesla when they actually provide it to you close to the time. You just have to make sure that you picked the right Tesla model and trim details for when you did the quotation initially. It should all match up to the exact same one from your number plate. Right, enough about insurance now. Let's move on to Tesla Model 3 maintenance required at the second year point. Well, about 5 months ago, my Tesla Model 3 started smelling like dirty socks when the AC turned on. And for those that have had Teslas around the 18 months onwards will probably know the smell pretty well. Essentially, the cabin filter needs replacing every 3 years or until it smells. Unfortunately, I've hit the smelly part rather than the duration limit, and subsequently I've held off ordering a replacement as I couldn't be bothered in doing it just yet. Then I've been forced to push it back because when I do have the time, because it's winter, it's bloody dark out here. In theory, it's a 10-minute job, but I've got to watch a YouTube video to know how to do it and then to follow that step by step and then put it all together again. Yeah, it's definitely a 30 to 40 minute weekend job for me and to do it at some point in the very near future. Otherwise, there are no other items required to be checked on a as need basis. I even test my own tire tread at home now, and you can see how I do that on the video above if you're interested. Before we sign off the video, we need to talk about VED, Vehicle Excise Duty, commonly known as car tax. EVs are thankfully free of charge, but not entirely exempt. If you think that is a contradicting statement, it's because it really is. So despite being free as an EV owner, you still get your VED reminder to tax your vehicle. And you can do this online as normal, but essentially you pay nothing to tax it. You just tax it for another year and don't pay. It's actually very simple to do, yet it could be very costly for you if you get pulled over for not paying your VED for the year, despite not having to physically pay for it. Anyhow, for new owners, don't ignore your VED reminder. Do register each year as if you're going to pay for it. The UK government have also actually announced that EVs are going to be charged full VED rates in 2025, including existing EVs. So whilst taxation, I think, was in some form inevitable, 2025 is still actually a long way. And personally, I believe that there's probably going to be some more changes to that in the future. Obviously, I don't know that, but it's just, again, my 2 cents on what I think could happen. That, and I can't actually imagine you want to hear a whole video of me talking about VED and car tax. So if you do, let me know. Maybe I'll do some research and do a whole video dedicated to it, but I'm not going to talk about tax. Yeah, boring. So to conclude, I'm over the moon with the premium that I paid this year for a Tesla Model 3, despite it having a high insurance group. I've managed to get it to a price cheaper than what we paid for our Seat Leon, which is frankly, I'd never actually thought was going to be possible. Further to that, I've shared my badass tip to help those new Tesla owners expecting delivery very soon, and how to hopefully get a cheaper insurance quote ahead of collection. To finish it off, I've made sure the vehicle has been taxed for the year free of charge, and I can report that we don't think we paid for any maintenance this year, apart from those cabin filters, for which I'll cover in more details when I finally get around to the installation of it. I think next year will be pretty different though to how this year's looked, but let's just evaluate that next year. My next video is going to be around the 2-year milestone. I actually plan to do a full-blown video, an ownership review on it, and that's going to actually include like how does the battery stand at 100%, etc. And that should be followed by a separate video, which I'm going to talk about the full cost to date, and it's something that I actually did last year, and it seemed to work quite well. So this gives me greater time to deliver on transparency and everything. Those are the vehicles that are going to be heading onto YouTube very shortly. So what do you guys think to my quotation tips? Is there any other tips that you utilize yourself that I've not mentioned? Alternatively, are you looking forward to my 2-year review and how that's going to look like? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you're not sure what to comment, you want to show me that you've got this far in the video, you can simply comment well-informed wizard, and I'll give you a cheeky thumbs up for the support. If you've not done so already, please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video with your friends, family, any other groups that may find it beneficial. And as always, you folks have been great, and I'll see you in the next one.